Okay.
Fun?
Yeah. Now where's my show screen? Where's the Zoom? Where's your screen?
I don't think you could do both.
No, I did it yesterday. What do you mean?
Yeah?
Wait, show hello. Now how do you share screen? Where? Yesterday I had. Oh, great. Okay. We're on. So let's go back and let's go back and do this piece over here. So I'm going to go back to the beginning just to reframe what we're holding. It's a short mimer also, but in this mimer he's going to go through why we celebrate the Yartzeit of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. This is Ma'amorim the Baal Tanya, Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe had it says the Likutei Torah was chosen by the Tzemach Tzedek. He had 2,000 Ma'amorim in front of him, and from 2,000 Ma'amorim he chose these ones. These are some of the other ones that he didn't choose.
And these are all small.
These are the short ones. There's Ma'amorim Aksarim.
These are the ones that were.
There's one or two ones Ma'amorim Aksarim. Yeah.
Who chose these?
The Alter Rebbe said them. They all Alter Rebbe's Ma'amorim. Yep. Same Alter Rebbe. Okay. So again, in Yan Hilul the Rashbi, we're over here. I hope you can see. Just we're going to do this quickly because we did it already. The Simcha Chasam Kaz because they were separate and they got close. When is a Simcha much more pronounced? When you were once upon a time together and then you separated. So Chasam and Kala are only special if the wedding is only awesome. Why? It's not two friends who found each other for the first time. Now that you found a friend. It's more than that. It's you were one and you didn't know about it and you forgot about it. You didn't see your friend for many, many years. You suddenly see him, you get very excited. It's because you were very good friends. Imagine you were good friends before the Holocaust, then there was a Holocaust, then you didn't see each other for 40 years. Suddenly you discover the guy's alive. What does that feel like, right? It's awesome. Yeah? Well, that's what a hospital is. If you were very, very close to each other, then that's how much more love you can have. That's commensurate with how much you love the person. That's how much love you'll have when you didn't see them for many years and now you suddenly saw them. Yeah. So what's a Chassan B'Kala? I would think a Chassan B'Kala, the way most of us celebrate, is two people that decided to get together and suddenly they discovered each other. He says, no, that's not what it is. Before the neshama was placed into the world, was announced 40 days before the child was born. So and so get married. They were absolutely one, like a mashpia and mekabel. That takes man rav. Then what happened? Then the neshamas are put down into a body. And when the neshamas are in a body, what happens? You don't know who your spouse is. But your wife is your soulmate. So marriage is the union of soulmates. Memele, it's such a happy time. When they now become one, in a real oneness. Following?
Yeah.
What is it? They were very, very distant, and they came to be one. Next page base. That's what it is. What is the Simcha of Chasam Lekala? Two souls which were one and united, and then they became. You know the story of the what's the name? Rabbi Chaim Nitzan's, what's he called? Anyway, but so the story is that his shver, this was the Agada, right? His shver helped him as a son-in-law because he was the best bach in yeshiva. Came to yeshiva. The Rosh Yeshiva told him, "This guy is the greatest, unbelievable chassan." And he sat with him for an hour, 2 hours. He tested him. It was the most amazing thing in the world. He said, what a shidduch done. So the story is that Rabbi Chaim Tzanzer comes over to Divrei Chaim. Oh, thank you. So Divrei Chaim comes over to the chasana, and at the chasana, lo and behold, the shver realizes that this very wealthy guy, whatever, that the chassan has one deficiency, that he is lame. Properly. 1 foot bigger than the other one. So he says, my daughter can't marry. I'm sorry. I didn't realize he was sitting down the whole time during the date. So Malsim, he told him, we're going to get off the shidduch. So Divrei Chaim says, no problem. I'm willing to forgo the shidduch. But one thing I want to have a few minutes with my would-have-been kala. They go into a room together, and he shows her a mirror, and in the mirror she sees her looking lame, him looking handsome and pretty and beautiful. And he tells her, Shamas, when I came down, just so you should know, we were one neshama, and you were supposed to be lame, and I asked if I could take it because it's easier for a man to do it than for a woman. So I took it for you.
Sounds like manipulation.
But marry whoever you want. He said, marry whoever you want. So that's Anyway, so, and then got married. That was parallel, the Divrei Chaim's wife. We're on if you look on the WhatsApp, I sent the page, or on the Zoom now, the page is there too. But look on the WhatsApp. On the WhatsApp, you'll see it. You see on the WhatsApp on the group? It's right there, the last page. Okay, so this is what Chassan and Kala's simcha is about. What's the simcha of Chassan and Kala? It's that you were two halves of one neshama, you separated and you united. Otherwise, you ever wonder, what are you celebrating at a wedding? Two guys, you have to know each other, get married. What do you want? It's because of the distance. You were separate because there were two halves of one neshama, and now you found your soulmate. That's the connection.
Even non-Jews have an neshamat?
No. A non-Jew wants to get married. They decide to live together. And halachically, if they want to get divorced, and there is a divorce for non-Jews also, of course, because they have it's one of the Shuvah Mitzvot Noach.
And what happens if there's a divorce? So you made a mistake, you hooked up with the wrong half? If it's the other half of the neshama, what's the story there?
Death. What happens when there's death?
So that neshama dies?
The union died. What do you mean? Yeah, correct. Very intense. That's why it says I was learning the whole thing. Get, right? Get is what's it called? Get is the Rebbe has also about it. It's a show of love. Because you were separate, and the Eibush makes it that there's a mitzvah you can do that but the get is intense. What do you mean? Yeah, it's a death of a union.
It's the death of the union, but how does that original? How do you hook up with another half of a neshama?
And neshama was hooked up with the body, and they got married. They were married for 120 years. Then what?
You're saying that it's not that the chas and the kala each are half of a neshama. It's the body and the neshama are half.
No, just like the body and the neshama become one, so too chas and kala become one.
But were they originally part of the same neshama, or these are just in the pool of neshamas that swam over and hooked up with this neshama? Now you can hook up with another neshama.
You mean, no, it's exactly words the thing, but they were one somehow or another.
Okay, I guess you went there. Okay.
Ali, you go upstate, you start using such words.
Not for me to hook up with the million.
Okay, so this is, what is this? Zehu Iker Simchas Chassan V'Kala. This is, if you want to know what the joy of a Chassan and Kala is, this is what it is. Vehine. Now, Mishmas Rashbi. Okay, so we're not talking about wedding, we're talking about yard sites. We're talking about Rashbi. Nishmat Rashbi, but Rashbi said, when he died, he says, make it into a hilula. What's a hilula? We say hilula is a yard site. Hilula is not a yard site, hilula is a wedding. What's Nishmat Rashbi? Haya bechinat mashpia, Rashbi's soul is a mashpia, liklalut neshamot Israel. So Rashbi is like the male, and he's mashpia to all the souls. Kemoi Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom did the same thing. And he's going to show us now there were 3 unions that took place between Neshamot Israel and the Tzaddik. Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom nikra Chatan. Moshe Rabbeinu is the groom. When Moshe Rabbeinu descends into a body, והמשיכה השפעות השגות אלוקות לכללות נשמות ישראל, הוא בוודאי ריחוק גדול. So, when Moshe's soul is spiritual, when Moshe's soul gets lowered down into a body, now what it does is he reveals, he's the mashpia of Neshamot Yisrael, he's the Katan to the Kala. So he reveals to all the Neshamas the Asagot Be'elokut, understanding Hashem. There's a tremendous richuk, Moshe Kibel and Neshamas, Lemaila Beloy Gufim. Compared to what the neshama was without a body, it's a tremendous richuk. So imagine Moshe Rabbeinu, when his soul gets lowered into a body, I mean, now his soul is distant from its original source. So when his soul goes back to its place which it was hewn from, what happens? This is what happens anytime a tzaddik dies. קודש, זה So, אחר שנסתלקה נשמתו מגופו, when his soul goes back to the source of which it was hewn from, the source of the neshama, ואולו אימו הנשמה שקיבלו למטה בגופים, the neshamas came back up with him, לקבל ממנו למעלה בלא גופים, to receive without the bodies, the kiru comes from the richuk. He's saying something really intense. He's saying like this. When Moshe Rabbeinu was up in Shamayim, Moshe Rabbeinu always has a connection to all Neshamot Yisrael. When it comes down to a body, they're distanced because the body, the materialism blocks you. It separates you from seeing a thing. I was just doing today's Tanya, not 4 days ago's Tanya, now, catching up. And the Alter Rebbe says that really you're supposed to stand up every time you see a Jew doing a mitzvah, stand up for him. That's halacha, that you're supposed to stand. Now, but understand why? Because when a Jew does a mitzvah, it's Asher Kiddush mitzvah. You're revealing Hashem. You're a conduit for Hashem. So you're supposed to stand up for him. That's halacha. Even in Am Haaretz. He's like, you know what the difference is? If you're Avram Vinu, one of the Avot, when you do the mitzvah, the Avot are like, they reveal the Elokut. They are embodying Elokut. The rest of us, we don't embody Hashem. We don't see Hashem, right? So it's there, but why don't you see him? Because of the materialism of the body. The body just blocks all spirituality. All edelkeit, all refinement is blocked by the body. So you have it, but you don't know about it. Yeah? So when someone goes back up, what happens? All those souls that were with the neshama go back up with it. That's why it's a wedding. The wedding, in a sense, is going back to it's the neshamas were all up in Shamayim. Then they were sent down to earth. So one became Moshe Rabbeinu, and the rest became the followers. When the neshamas go back, it's an absolute rejoicing of meeting again. Because when you were in the world, you were stuck, you were distant. Follow? That's why Yortzeit is a hilul. It's a wedding because the neshamas go back to that state of being one with each other. So now he says like this. This is the wedding. And now he breaks it down. There were 3 weddings that took place. אחד מן הראשונים שהיה משה הגדול. שהיה משה בהר. So there were 3 weddings that took place. One is, there were 3 weddings, Moshe, David, Rashbi. So he's going to say, Moshe Rabbeinu, what did he give us? He gave us the Torah. So, the first one is Moshe Rabbeinu. Shaya Moshe Bahar Ayachirut Mishibud Malach HaMavis. When Moshe Rabbeinu gave us the Torah, we had absolute freedom from this materialism. The Malach HaMavis had 0 effect on any of us. Anikra Chirut Olam. Total freedom. It says that before Chet Hadas, you were in a body and it didn't block you at all. And then
for those whole 2 minutes,
those 3 hours, yeah,
3 hours,
and then we messed up. And for the next 2,448 years, I mean, we had Zur Masanoch.
but it must have blocked. No, if something they did a chit, they did something. There must have been some.
You had the ability for a free choice. But then 2,448 years later, what happens? We go back to our original state. Matan Torah, Paskazu Amasim. They were back into that absolute oneness. The body had zero blockage anymore. Yeah. Mamish before the breaking with Chet Adam Rishon. This will happen again when Mashiach comes. This is why Matan Torah is called everywhere Yom Chatunato Zumatan Torah.
See, at that moment, they didn't have the blockage.
Because there's no blockage. Just like the Neshama we said when it goes back, there's no blockage of the body. So the body stopped blocking. So they had a chasana. There was an absolute union, which took about because Moshe and As got married and with Hashem involved. And unfortunately, yeah, it's not good anymore. We get back to the Mashiach comes because we still Chet Egel right away. But who's man Matan Torah Shavuos? So now you have a wedding on Shavuos. See where he's going? Lag Borim is a wedding. Shavuos is a wedding. So who's the wedding of Shavuot? Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what it is. The zuam of the contamination disappeared completely. You had the absolute zivug of the souls.
Doesn't there have to be like a shemetz, a little bit of something to make you fall into the avera?
What do you mean? Say again?
I'm saying, is it going to be shaykh to sin?
No. The difference between
what's the difference between that and the first Adam and Moshe?
So that's what Basi Daganis all say, that the chiddush of that is that before Chet Eitzadas, the difference is you had it all, but you were able to not have it. All right, that they sinned.
Right.
Why do we go through 5,786 and a half years to get to Mashiach? Because the way we get to it now is that there's no possibility of going back. That's different.
So why aren't we then like robots?
What?
Why aren't we then in the loss of love? Why won't we be like robots?
It's like someone who works in their marriage and has a good marriage. They're a robot? No, they work in their marriage, have a good marriage. Don't be robot, we'll be fulfilled.
No, but even in marriage, you still have that possibility of breaking.
No, it's perfection. It's reaching perfection. It's reaching a state of perfection.
But you define perfection when you don't have the ability to be imperfect.
Source of the
What's the miler perfection?
So
David found was the source of the medrash. The medrash discussed yesterday in Shir.
What's the value of perfection if you can't be imperfect? Then you're not perfect. Perfect means without perfection. It means total perfection without even if you don't have the possibility.
The answer is that Hashem is big gvul.
What's that?
Hashem is big gvul.
Yeah.
Mashiach is not the end, it's the beginning. So right now we can't even start the connection because the body's like, I'm not in the mood.
Right.
So I'm trying to do a mitzvah and the body's like, nah, let's not.
Right.
There's no wedding. There's no wedding taking place. The only way to make a wedding right now is to die.
Right.
Is to die.
Right, yeah.
When you die with a tzaddik, then now there's no blockage of the body. But the better way to make a wedding is by having a matan Torah, whereby the body doesn't block you anymore and you have it. So when Mashiach comes, now there's no blockage. Now you're making it sound like there's nothing to do anymore. There'll be there'll be unlimited amount to do because Hashem is unlimited.
But
you have no idea what that means.
But you'll have unlimited things to do without the potential of doing the wrong thing. So what you're unlimited doing.
No, it's not. It won't be the wrong thing. It'll be the super right versus this will be levels of right. It'll be a different world. That's what it means. Yeah, everything we know will go and it'll be a much better system. Yeah, lots to do that.
Okay, I don't really get it, but okay.
No, Ellie, a tzaddik nowadays, like, what is that? Is he perfect? Is he not perfect? Does he have the ability to do our
That's exactly what I'm saying to you. Tzaddik today is his perfection is you notice his perfection because of the possibility of him being imperfect. If there was no possibility for him to be imperfect, everybody's a tzaddik. It's like going to the chasana.
No. I'm talking about a Tanya's tzaddik v'toivloi. I'm not talking about a tzaddik that every year's a big tzaddik.
I don't think even when he said tzaddik v'toivloi that he's still he's still human. He has the possibility one day of doing something.
Rabbi, is that true?
What's the mileage?
No, there's no possibility of an avera. We're imposing on him our own Beinoni mentality. That of course you could do an avera. No, he can't. He can't do an avera. He doesn't have the ability.
There's no mileage.
There's no possibility. What?
Okay, fine. Then there's no mileage.
No, what I mean, that's when the mileage begin. That's the Rebbe's Sikha where I told you the Rebbe's Sikha right there. He goes, the Nechtige Mendel. That's the idea there. The Rebbe's talking about, he's like, so the guys learned ganz Shas, ganz Posk, everything. He learned the whole thing. He learned all Sifrei Chassidus. He's gone through everything. Overcome his Yetzer Hara. And he's talking about the guy, and there's nothing more to do. He says, but the Eivish is bleak Vu. And so he rises up to this level, and then he goes all the levels and he rises up. And then he says to himself that Nechtige Mendel has nothing to do with today's one. And I'm looking at him, what could a Rebbe possibly have to do? But, I mean, clearly, that's when you begin to have what to do, not, right? It's kind of like saying a guy's not from, and he says, oh, okay, you're from, what's the difference already? You know, between the fry and from. When you become from, you realize that every Vort Chassidus you learn changes you totally. You're like, from fry to from is nothing. It's just action, putting on tefillin or not. It's the main thing, I agree, but it's much easier. I mean, but when the difference between how you view things and the level of what you're doing, I mean, you know?
Okay.
Anyway, Behu Zman Matan Teira Be Shavuos. This is what happens in Matan Teira and Shavuos. That's marriage number one. You see it? The body's not, again, what's marriage? Marriage is you have, two neshamot or one. Then there's a blockage, and they haven't seen each other for many years. Then they get together again. It's like, wow. So all Jews were one with Hashem before they came down. And then they come down to a body and they forget about Moshe Rabbeinu. They don't know, they're trying to relate. They relate to him, but they don't. They go back in the Hilula, they go back. That's what Matan Torah is about. Matan Torah is post-Ezua Mosen within the physical body, it's much greater. So for 2,448 years, it was a divorce, so to speak. After Chet Tzadas, because Vayigaresh et Adam, that's what it said. Now he brought it back. What a beautiful moment. That's why Matan Torah is a wedding. Now, they were in the supernal mother. I think Imavia means a mother, not fear. I don't know. Because the 6 days of the week are the 6 days of creation. They were able to rise above it into the bina of understanding Hashem. And there too, what happens? Moshe is the mashpia. Bra buchlo the Abba va'ima Elohim. If I understand correctly what this means, it's Moshe Rabbeinu is the bra buchlo, the firstborn son of the intellect of Hashem. In other words, Moshe is able to tell you exactly what Hashem wants and bring it down. He's the firstborn son, revealing what Hashem wants in this world. Moshe is mashpia das. He makes them understand Hashem. So we would be detached from Hashem. Moshe is like, get back together, guys. And he brings the oneness and the bond back with Hashem. And then what happened? We went back and got divorced again. That's Chet Ha'edom. The David, Melech Al Yisrael, Begashmius. What's David? David was a king over the Jews physically. So what does that mean? Moshe Rabbeinu, it says in the Gemara, Melech, he was also a king. Like he wasn't a king, right? He wasn't a king. If you walked in front of him and you looked like this and you winked or you moved your finger, you were Chayav Misa. David HaMelech is an absolute king. What does that mean? It means that David HaMelech, I think it's important, this Nakuda there. The problem with absolute power is you have absolute abuse. The only way to be a David HaMelech is if you have absolutely no sense of self whatsoever. If you have any kind of bodily blockage of materialism, you can't be a David HaMelech, right? It's like it's impossible. So you have to be able to completely let go of yourself. David HaMelech is the holiest individual in the world who's able to be a king. So he took Hashem and brought it down more than Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was on one level, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was on a level of bringing Hashem down into Matan Torah where there's no blockage of the Gashmics. The trouble was, he wasn't a king and he wasn't able to bring it down as much as David HaMelech. David HaMelech was able to be a mamash, a king, and therefore the union of David HaMelech is the greatest union, which is why, when is David's yard site? Yeah? So David's connection to Shavuos is right there also. David HaMelech died on Shavuos. Lachen met b'Shavuot. Because he is the embodiment of Moshe, from the first 40 days that Moshe went up the mountain.
Is there, when you say Melech, is that the same thing as a Nasi? When you say
Greater.
the Nasi, what?
It's even greater.
Which is greater?
I mean, Melech is the ultimate. Melech is the ultimate, the king. Yeah, it's totally.
When you talk about the error of the building of the third bias, are we already in that state already there that we can't sin?
He's going to wait and say no. He's going to get to Rosh Bina. And the Rebbe, by the way, the Rebbe says that when he says take it from Miyad Mamish, Miyad is Rosh Tevis. Moshe, Israel, David. He added Israel Baal Shem Tov.
Yeah, okay, but when you said before that there's not shaykh sin, is that's you're talking about that Zman at the end of Yechezkel, where it talks about the rebuilding of the third bias, or it's after that?
Not someone probably the time. Wait a minute,
No. You said that the time's going to come where there's going to be no sin. What we were discussing about before.
Oh, I get it.
Hold on. Sorry, is that what? Sorry.
When we were discussing before the time when there won't be the shaykh to do an avera. When was that kufa that you're talking about?
There was a moment of Matan Torah, right? Yeah. So that moment of Matan Torah, and then it disappeared. That was a wedding.
Yeah.
And then he says, David HaMelech, when he passed away, that's also a Hilula.
No, but I'm asking you, so La'asud would say that, but is that when we're going to also be in that matzav?
When Mashiach comes, yes. But now he's going to show you how Rashbi already brought us somewhat into that space.
Now, the question that I'm asking, I might be wrong. The question I'm asking you, when you're talking about the building of the third bias, so you're saying at that point already that Mashiach's going to come, the bias is built, and there's not shaykh for avera at that point?
Correct.
Okay, so the question then is, at the end of Yechezkel, when it talks about the Chalukah of Eretz Yisrael, and it divides it into the 13 sections. So the middle section had the bias, and the outer two sections of the middle section was the Nasi. And there they say they gave the Nasi that extra land so that he shouldn't go out and chop the land of Eretz Yisrael, of the Eden, right? How's it shaykh that he would chop the land of the Eden if he's a Nasi in the time of the Beis Hamikdash? There's no.
I mean, again, I don't know that specific answer to that question, but the Pasha, what it means is, it doesn't mean he's going to steal from them. It means that his level is going to override theirs. So it's not an actual physical stealing. It's my being overpowers yours. So how do we get to live coexist together? Right, something to that effect.
See, that's why they gave him extra land.
I can't comment that. I don't know. Okay. Anyway, but now we move over to Rush B, and this is so powerful in light of the Maimah we just learned about the Yom Kippur Maimah with the Tzur HaChalamish and the Samticha Benikat Tzur. Look at this. So David HaMelech belongs to the first 40 days. So he dies on Shavuot because Shavuot represents this time of no Yetzer Hara. And David HaMelech is the one who, it says in Tanya, he brings that pasuk, "V'libi halal v'kirbi." He doesn't have a Yetzer Hara, which is what he asked with the story about Shavuot. What on earth did I do over here? How could that be? So David HaMelech is Ferut mimalach hamavet, which is why David prepares himself for the Beis HaMikdash and he's able to bring Shlomo HaMelech into the state of Beis HaMikdash. Aval mem yom ha'achronim. But Moshe Rabbeinu goes up the mountain after he went to 40 days, came down, they messed up with Keita Egel. So he goes up a second time. And then he comes back down, and what did he do? He came down with the thing. Eli, when was the other Maimon we learned? When was that? That was the when he came back and he said, "Tzamticha b'nikras hatzur." Was that at the end of the second 40 days or the beginning of the second 40 days?
No, at the second day.
What?
The end of the second days.
Was it the end of the beginning? Whatever. But either way,
that was when he was asking. It would be the beginning because he asked. That's what the
it might have been the end. Doesn't say. Might have been the end. Whatever it is, associated with the second 40 days. That right. Part. Okay. And then comes the third 40 days. And what do the third 40 days culminate with? A new wedding. What does it culminate? Yom Kippur. And what's Yom Kippurim? B'chinas chitzonius the bina ilo de atzilus. That's the external revelation of bina, of understanding Hashem completely in this world. Ub'chinas Moshe asher b'men yem achreinim. And if you want to know Moshe, so Moshe coming down in the first mem yoim, he comes down, does it doesn't work, whatever. There's Chet Egel, so he comes down again as David HaMelech. Then Moshe comes down a third time. And this third time, what is that? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Hayayarat nishmat Rabbi Shimon. And vayagam kein hilula beruch nias. What's the spiritual hilula of Rashbi? The spiritual hilula is, so again, I don't think you can understand without that mimer. Just remember what we did in that mimer. What we said was that Yom Kippur is the day of Titavu. What does it mean to purify? Remember we said, a Jew living in this world, the world is a wick. Everything in this world, the wick, it's on fire. You can bring Hashem into it. The trouble is you have a body that blocks you. So what do? You're supposed to do, listen, Torah, Tfilah, Tzedakah. If you dive in and you realize my life is bringing Hashem down, and I'm learning Torah, and I'm changing the physical world by doing tzedakah and doing mitzvahs in general, that's awesome. But what happens when you do avonot? If you sit and you do averot, what happens? Those averos block you from Hashem. So now you get like the catapult, right? The bean spoke over there, and then you get catapult, and suddenly the world becomes insanely real to you, right? I was learning a sefer today. I was listening to the sefer, I should say, the one about the lantern stick in the middle of it. So he says that the Rebbe says like this. If you live in a from neighborhood, by the way, I'm listening to it carefully. If you live in a from neighborhood and you see people who are full of Torah, and you can't see where the lantern is, right? Where the lamp is. In other words, you look at a Jew and you say, I don't know how to light this Jew, right? I don't know. I don't see the light. Mm-hmm. He says you should know the reason you don't see the light is because you're not a lamplighter. You're not a chassid. So he says, why? Because you're doing everything to yourself. If you start lighting your own light, then you would start seeing the light in the other person, and you'll be a fire. And when you don't see it, you're portraying yourself onto the other person, right? So if you make yourself idle, he says, how do you make yourself idle? Through avodat tefillah. If you're doing avodat tefillah, you become attached to Hashem. You'll start seeing revelations of God in everyone. And if you don't see it, because you're not there. So that's what it means by what's it called? By each one. Give it to me. That's what it means by each and every one of us, right? You don't have that revealed. So he says that's in the end. Mind that he ends up and he says Hashem tells Moshe something. I'm going to give you something powerful. The tzur is the way I created you in the first place. So just like Ablezer ben Dordaya, what does he do? He was a big Baal Aveira, just like the Jews in Chet Egel were big Baal Aveira. But when they discovered, they broke themselves. 1 second. Hashem is, I'm with you, even if everything I messed up. I'm still with you, Hashem. Right? And he discovers this awesome revelation of Hashem. What did he just do? He got married to Hashem. So what's the ultimate marriage? Yom Kippur. Lama Yom Kippur. You see how that? Yom Kippur is the ultimate marriage with Hashem. Lama? Because first of all, Yom Kippur is the wedding. The first time around we got the luchas, we messed up. The second time we got the luchas, now for the first time it starts to work. So Yom Kippur is the wedding. Yom Kippur is a hilula. Why is it a hilula? Because you broke the neshamas, which were stuck and disconnected, got together. What's it going to do with Rashbi? So he says, "Oh, mephinas Moshe memamachreinim yaharas ishmas abshimen v'yagam king hilula beruchnius." Aval b'nei Moshe al shalom shadei lo hoya hilula beruchnius and neshamas levad elagam beoidam begufam. In the days of Moshe Rabbeinu, didn't have it was a spiritual hilula. Uvimei Rabbi Shimon shelo haya ador ha'ui lecha haya beruchnius and moker neshamois. Saying the problem was in Rashbi's time, the generation wasn't shaykh to it. So because of that, it was a spiritual revelation. So Rabbi Shimon died, and when he died, we make it very hilula. Why? Because the same idea as the broken luchas. It's not, you're not on the same level. So you have spirituality revealed, but Moshe's time you have a Matan Torah and it's actual revelation, right? Rashbi, Lag BaOmer, what is it? But it's more spiritual. You don't have that revelation of Matan. What is it? It's the absolute expression of Hashem. So now, if you go back to the first Maimon that we learned, the Maimon that yesterday was about the Rashbi with the marshal of the story, there makes sense. What was Rashbi saying? He says, if a couple wants to get divorced, Mamish the same idea. If a couple wants to get divorced, so what should you do? Sorry, take two. The couple couldn't have children. He told them get divorced. And then he says, but do the divorce in joy. And what's going to happen when you do the divorce in joy? So she comes and she says, he says, take the most precious item from me. So what does she do? What does she take? She takes him. And then he says, okay, now you're there. You see what happened? It's a couple who were distant from each other and they couldn't have children, which are the feelings of Avavir. So when you got divorced and there's no connection between you and Hashem, there's Mausim. So you look at yourself and you say, okay, there's nothing to me. What? But. Before the Yid, and I have an Neshama, and I'm one with Hashem. So if you're able to, even in the divorce, to say to Hashem, I want nothing but you.
Wow.
That's when you build the ultimate. See, it's the same Nakud of the way. It's
Beautiful.
all
Beautiful.
what?
Beautiful.
So the Alter Rebbe's whole Nakud the whole way through is, I mean, this mimer ends off, if you think about it, it's like a pretty, in a sense, it's like on a down, right? Because he ends off, and what's he telling us? Okay, and you guys, that's not the same level of marriage. But I think if you look at that divorce thing over there, the mimer, it's much more powerful. What he's saying to you is, the two, when you learn Torah Roshbi, Pnimis HaTorah, two halves of one neshama are meeting each other for the first time. And it's an absolute wedding. When you get to learn Zohar or Hasidus, it's an absolute unity of the neshamas. Right? You become one. That's the bar. You're becoming completely aligned with Hashem and completely united and one at absolute oneness. Yeah? Because you were distant from each other, that's why it's the closest over here. So in this Maimon, the Nakuda is that a wedding he answers why it's called Hilula. Because it's Hilula because it's a day of it's a marriage between Hashem and us. And marriage is when the body starts blocking you, the body which was blocking you, there's a distance from you, now you come back to who you truly are. I want to do one last Maimon, and then we can go back to the Sfirasayim afterwards. But one last Maimon over here. Because I think it's very powerful. Here is this mimer here.
Is it in the?
It's not. It's in this book. It's Halef Lozny. In this book. Paksat.
That's Japan.
So, and I think they all relate to each other. Once you understand this, and I'll just give us a short beginning of this one. It's another short mimer. It's a little bit longer than the other ones. So let's go right there. Can you see it? You got my screen?
Still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have it here. Who wants to have it right here? On the screen, or if you want right here on page 5. I texted Rabbi Jacobson and I told him, give me a few fiery mamorim. This is what he gets. Okay. So the same question, right? The same question. Why is it called a wedding?
Why trending is wedding, you know?
Huh?
Is it on fire? The lighting a fire?
Ilula is a lot of fire. Ilula is a wedding. That's what it means. Yeah.
This is also from the Alter Rebbe?
Yep. The Alter Rebbe has about, by the way, the Mamarim Alter Rebbe has 40 books of Mamarim. I'm sorry to tell you, if you think you finished the Qur'an and you got them all done, he has about 40 of them. It's called Mamarim Muazakim. Not 40, 25, whatever.
That's the difference.
He also has a Shulchan Aruch and everything else. He was busy. להבין עניין הילולה דרשב"י. למה נקרא בלשון הילולה? והלא נקבע תייניס על מיסי צדיקים. You're supposed to fast for a tzadik's death. וכמוי, בזין דעודה שמייס מוישה. Now you see that mime we just learned, right? אך העניין יובן על פי הקדמה שיש הפרש בין נשמות למלאכים. You got to understand the difference between souls versus angels. We're both spiritual. אבל המלאכים נקראים עומדים והנשמות נקראים מהלכים. Malachim are standers and the neshamas are walkers. So the neshamas go places and the malachim are stuck. In the Rebbe's analogy of this, when I forget who it was, one of the chess players came over into 770, so the Rebbe gave a sikha about chess. And in that sikha, he explained that he says the pawn is nothing. He just goes boom, 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 boom. Unlike the rook and the knight and the queen, they're amazing.
The Rebbe played chess.
But then he says, there's a picture of the Rebbe playing chess with the Friedrich Rebbe, which was not on Nittelnach, by the way.
No.
And the Rebbe lost the game. Says he was not really. The Rebbe they said the Rebbe played to lose because he didn't want to win against the Rebbe Reyes. And he couldn't show them that he wasn't trying to whatever. So, but he played to lose.
Didn't he only lose the first game?
What was that? I don't remember.
Afterwards, Friedrich Rebbe realized
he told that you can't. Yeah. Then they played a second. I don't remember. Anyway, so he explained that in the chess that the pawn is nothing. That's true, but guess what? Only a pawn can change, and when he reaches that end, he can become even a malka. He can't become melech, but he can become malka, which is misyachit with the king. United him, and he saw malka b'chitay. So that's an neshama. And neshamas in this world can go places. The malachim, they're limited.
Considers you can learn something from anything, huh?
The karsulei achayot, what does it say? The karsulei achayos, which means the
elbows.
Heels. Elbows? No, heels.
No? Heels?
I think it's heels.
Okay.
Ankles.
K'neged kulam.
Okay.
So the malachim are awesome, they're very powerful, but they're very limited. Page good base. Limited understanding of God. Every malach has a way he understands and grasps Hashem, and he's stuck, and he's no other way to understand. You can have two opposite malachim, Michal and Gabriel. Michal is Chesed, Gabriel is Gvura. Every malach, what he receives, he knows, but he only knows one thing. That's why they're called animals. Whatever he receives is a limited being. A malach can only do one shlichus, and he stands in one place without adding, subtracting. He's like an animal, a lion about to attack you, like nothing exists. So the malach is that. Whatever he was, he is forever. He doesn't get excited more than he's capable of, right? Or go less. Nothing more, nothing less. The same thing. Everyone was given what he's getting. That he was given the way he understands Hashem, that's what he gets. The malchus, that's it he has. So the malachim are standards. Let's just quickly finish the malach. The neshamas. So what's the neshamas? Aval neshamot nikraim malchim. They go places. They go places. They fall also. He can go from all the way down and go up, 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 and up. He changed a human being, a malach. He's like one day he's not. That totally different direction. Can you change your? It's hard to change your character traits, but can you? You absolutely could. And he can go rise rise up and up. Malachim can just rise and rise and rise. What does Michal do? Michal is the malach of Chesed. So he takes the neshamas and he brings them close to Hashem. He puts them on the mizbeach constantly and consistently. And the neshama becomes totally absorbed into the atzmos of Hashem and the smell of Hashem. Even though they're very limited, they have a piece of Hashem, literally, so they're created by Hashem. They're infinitely distant from Hashem, but infinitely close to Hashem. This is why they're called mehalchim. So the pasuk says, just finish with this line. Can go to the highest level. He goes and rises up and up and up and up. They can be absorbed totally into Hashem. So that's the first paragraph of this. It's a few more paragraphs. I'll post the link. So what happens is like this. Let's just summarize what we learned today. In this Maimer we're talking about, it's all the same idea. The Lag BaOmer is called the Hilula. Why it's called the Hilula? Because it's a marriage. So we learned in the previous Maimer why it's called the Hilula because it's we were one with Hashem. We get separated, and then Rashbi reveals to us that we truly one with Hashem. Matan Torah that happened. David HaMelech does it on Shavuos, and we do it on Lag BaOmer. Whenever you learn Chassidus, your soul, it's a marriage. Learning Chassidus, Torah Rashbi, is a marriage. You feel a little bit of elevation, right? And you feel like your soul's rising outside of itself. That's the Torah of Rashbi. And this Maimer is telling us, he's breaking it down to explain to us the details of how this works. And the answer is, how does it work? It works because Rashbi is really the whole nakuda of Rashbi is going to be to reveal to us what a neshama is. What's a neshama? A neshama is a mahalach. It goes places. It reinvents itself. It goes to a higher nakuda. As a mahalach is stuck in his position, and the neshama is able to just cruise and rise into a totally brand new level. And he's going to explain this. Mitzvah, I think on Sunday we can try finish it. It's whatever, and then what's the take-home message? That's about being a shaman in this world. What?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Keep moving, keep growing. We have the opportunity to do that. So a malach is stuck.
You're a walker, not a standing.
Yeah.
Right.
Keep.
I think when you learn a Maimer and you get these moments where you realize there's a deep, deep truth being communicated over here. And that deep truth is the wedding. That's the neshama, discovering its soulmate. Oh, wow, me and God are one. It's exciting.
Starting in a few minutes.
Have a good Shabbos.
Okay. Good Shabbos, the Gulam.
Yeah,
Good Pesach Sheni today. So make sure to eat some matzah today. It's Ishtochen Farfalim today. There's never too late.
Hilula translates to wedding.
Hilula is a wedding.